Alrighty. Hello, welcome. My name is Jake. Welcome to this live stream. And yeah, I'm going to keep it short today. And we'll dive into how I created Elder Scrolls inspired ambience. And this is something I looked for online before diving into and couldn't find a lot of resources on. And so I'm going to try to make a video that's along the lines of something that I would have liked to watch back in the day when I was attempting this. So I'm going to go ahead and play this entire track. This track is called Fields of Grain. It was written for a game audio asset pack called Exploration Fantasy Action RPG Music, and it's also available to stream under my artist name, Jacob Lives. So anyways, here's the full track from beginning to end. All right. So that track was a ton of fun to make. And I'm just going to start from the beginning here. So my whole goal from the start was to really give it kind of this washy sound, because to me, this type of music, like Elder Scrolls music, really has I just think of it as washy. Like it just feels like it's just drenched in reverb. Like the orchestra's like way in the back. And I tried to emulate that, both in the composition and in the production of it. So starting off here, this is Tape Orchestra Strings. This is a free plugin, one of my favorites from Spitfire Audio. Strings Sol Tasto, and it just sounds amazing. Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it. And so we start off with just this pad here. And the composition itself is super, super simple. I try to just stick with the same chord progression pretty much the whole song. So we have D major 7. I'm playing it in the keyboard here in front of me. And then, and we're holding just an F at the top. And then an E major with the F sharp, add 9. And then F sharp minor. This whole song just does these 3 chords. D, E, F sharp. E, then it goes back down. I think. Let me double check. Then we go to D. Oh, there's one more chord. And then E again. And then it psychs us out. Instead of going to the F, it goes to the C sharp minor. And then to the F sharp. And I think that's just enough to just keep it interesting. Like, it's not super predictable. But it's just predictable enough, in my opinion. And I'm sending this to reverb. Let's see, I have some Valhalla reverb just to give it that drenched sound. Here's without the reverb. So it just adds just some tail, just some more tail and wetness, I guess. So the next section here, I wanted something just constant as well with the chord progressions, as well as just this piano, just this little glung, 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 just something constant. I'm gonna solo this piano. And I'm sending it to a delay, Echo Boy Jr., to give it that da 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 da. Just very faint. And again, within this piano part, kind of like the chord progression, I try to just little nuances to keep it interesting enough. So that's why there's this little, whoops, these little things. Little things like this to keep it unpredictable. Bum bum. Yet unpredictable yet comfortable, I guess. So we have that going on with these pads, just kind of layering. Because that's another thing with Elder Scrolls music. It just takes its time, and that was the hardest thing that's what I struggled with when making these asset packs inspired by Elder Scrolls music, was giving it the space. I feel like those soundtracks are just so good at just giving you space and just time to feel. And I struggled with that a lot. But this was as close as I could get to it at the time being. So then I introduced this dulcimer here. And this is one of my favorite dulcimer plugins. It's from Simple Samples Audio. Super, super good. I love it. Here's what it sounds like alone. And I have some automation, volume automation, so it creeps in. Hey, ToeGap. Welcome. And again, this is, so let's see what's going on here. Within this dulcimer, on the plugin itself, I have Echo Boy, or on the instrument track itself, and some chorus, and I'm panning it. So let me lay all these out here for you. So this is what's going on with the dulcimer. Again, starts super quiet. Here's the panning. Just super subtle panning. And again, this is just, it's just one of those textures just to give it that space, that openness. That with the piano. So I'll play these two together. Forgot to share, this is what's on the piano track as well. And then the dulcimer goes down an octave here. It's a new section. So yeah, these little things, these with the pads just help keep it, just give it that space, in my opinion. Oh, I forgot this harp part is going on too. So we also have, with the dulcimer coming in, there's this harp. Doing something similar to the piano. So you can see how the parts kind of complement each other here. And again, yeah, all of this is just foreground, just laying the space. Setting the environment, I guess you could say. Creating the environment for the melody to sit on top of. Let's see, that's all the elements I have for this section. And then this celeste, just kind of accenting these harp notes here. Right there. Bum, bum. And then as we move into the song, so now the pads drop down an octave. And we introduce a new line here. This is harps, and I have marimba. I just wanted the harp to be doubled with something. So I have a marimba as far back as possible. Being sent to some Valhalla verb. You can hear that tail, that reverb tail. Let me turn that up. So I just paused it, yeah, and it's still going. Again, just drenched in reverb. That was my goal here. So anyways, there's that line. It's just outlining the chords. Just basically going 1, 5, and then moving up to the third or so. Other than that, nothing else new. The pads just drop down an octave. Here it is with the pads and the other elements. And again, the only difference here, I think the pads were just playing more extended chords here. So here's this soloed. So now the root is doubled in the left hand here. Thanks, Togap. So I finished this song back in April or March or so, or maybe February. I don't remember. Springtime. Where I live, at least. And so, yeah, I'm just doing a little dissection of the track. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. I don't know how long it took me to write it, but I spent significant time on it. Really wanted to get it right, get the sound right. It was fun. Then adding the major seventh here. So yeah, just giving this a more full sound. A little bit of EQ, taking off the low end. Moving on. Here's where we finally have melody. So with this melody, I have cor anglais, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry, and bassoon. And this is Cinematic Studio Woodwinds. And within this plugin, I took out the close mic and the overhead mic, so it sounds a little bit more farther away from us. And I just love the legato from these patches. And I'm sending the woodwinds to a reverb in east-west here. And then just a little moment of delicacy here. I just wanted a little break from all of this stuff, all the movement, except for the piano. The piano is the one consistent thing we have here. So we have some wind chimes going on. This is from east-west. Nothing crazy. Ooh, update available. No thanks. Not right now. And with the wind chimes, this is just texture stuff. We have Celeste. Ooh, ambient piano. This is just a separate piano track from Omnisphere, it looks like. I just called it ambient. This is ambient space piano. Here's what this sounds like. Just a nice distant sound. That with the Celeste here. And the Celeste is from just Contact, just one of their basic plugins. I think it's like a free one. Or Contact Essentials or something. I don't remember what it's called. But it's a great sound. And then joining the melody is a glockenspiel from east-west. Whoops. And some more, it looks like wind chimes here. Just textury stuff, and then a harp. Whoops, joining them. Oh boy, my bad. There we go. A harp and piano. Yeah, Cinematic Studio Piano 2 doing the da 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 da. You can hear it just drenched in reverb as well. And I panned it opposite of this harp here. So we have the harp on the left, the piano on the right. Thanks, man. Togap, to answer your question, where was it you got that ambient piano sound again? If you're talking about this one, so this is from Omnisphere. And it looks like it was just a, what's it called? It was just within the patch itself. So it wasn't one that I made. Just called Ambient Space Piano in Omnisphere. This is an amazing plugin. One of my favorites. Glad to hear it reminds you of running around in Oblivion. That is good. That was the goal. So yeah, all these textures together. Oh yeah, and then I forgot the pads are still going, but again, now they're an octave higher. So basically playing, I think this is exactly what they played in the beginning of the track. I think I probably just copied and pasted it over from here or something. So now all these textures combined. Forgot to share with the tape orchestra pad sound. This is what I've got going on plugin wise. A compressor and then some EQ. And then we come back to the melody here, but with a fuller orchestra sound here. Okay, so let's dive into, I'm going to start with the woodwinds. Here's what we got going on. Again, this is Cinematic Studio woodwinds. We have a solo clarinet, solo oboe, and alto flute. It looks like they're in the same register. And that is all just to support our violins over here. Sinistrines. Oh, sorry. I just realized this isn't the input. I had to change this right before I started the live stream because I got an update with Sinistrines. There we go. Maybe this will sound... Okay. So yeah. Introducing the melody there, then we have a string bass coming in and a solo cello going an octave lower. And the solo cello is from Cinematic Studio Solo Strings. Really, really great. And that's being sent to some reverb, string reverb, and a lot of them are being sent to this master reverb bus, so that it helps them all sound like they're in the same room, more or less. Here's the string reverb. Writing that melody was fun. It's nothing compared to like Skyrim melodies, which are so like singable and memorable, but that was my attempt. I still have a long ways to go when it comes to writing melodies, but I had fun writing it nonetheless. We have a little timpani roll into this section. And I was just boosting some of these bass frequencies a little bit. And this is from East West. This is their Symphonic Orchestra Gold. So I used a lot of samples from this library specifically. It's an older library, but I tried to use this as much as possible because doing just a little bit of research, found out that a lot of the soundtracks for Oblivion and I think Skyrim were done with sample libraries. And back in the days of Oblivion, I think this was like one of the main orchestra sample libraries. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was around at the time. Definitely sounds like it. So I tried to use this whenever possible, just to kind of help give it that authentic sound. Okay, so we have timpani roll. Let's see, I was going from up to down. So woodwinds, harps are continuing the same thing as the section before. So just continuing that foundation they laid down. Same with the dulcimer. Everything else is the same. Let's see what this piano is doing. Oh yeah. This piano is from Cinematic Studio Piano with just Valhalla reverb. This reverb plugin was free. Fun fact. Used a lot of free plugins for this, or at least a couple. And like I said, so this isn't the absolute original string section that I had. It was from a different Cinestrines library, but I've since updated it to 2.0, and I don't know how to go back to the older version. This was the older version I had here, but it won't load the sounds, and so I think they sound slightly different, but oh well, it's fine. And yeah, here's what's going on just in the strings with the solo cello. I don't know if I prefer the older version of Cinestrines. I prefer the newer one. It's just a pain when I'm going back to older projects because I just don't know how to access the older ones. And so, but no, with the new Cinestrines, I think it's really intuitive. So like, here's my Cinestrines sum, like my collection of tracks here, with the new with 2.0 Cinestrines, and this is the old one. I had to lay out my tracks like this. Like, look at how many these are. That's just a pain, just because of how their plugin worked. Like, there's a separate articulations for legato, a separate articulation for pizzicato, for harmonics, and for staccatos and stuff. And that was such a pain. But now they have all of those in one plugin, and you can key switch it, and you can add or take away key switches. Like, it's really customizable, and I think it does sound better. Yeah, that's just my only gripe is that it doesn't have. It's hard to access the older stuff. But no, it sounds great to me though. And it looks like I was gonna have the cello do something fancy here, but then I changed my mind and I had the cello do fancy stuff over here. Okay, so it plays this melody, and then the second time we play the melody, obviously something has to change. We don't want things to be too repetitive. So I had the strings bump up an octave with their melody. I think just the first strings, so that the violins sound like this second time we hear the melody. It's always great to have when writing for strings, for violins. Just a great go-to. Violin 1, violin 2 in octaves. Obviously, there's a lot of fancy things you can do, but that's just a nice, simple one. And then the cello does something fancier. I think it's playing exactly what the harp is playing, if not very similar. Let's check it out here. Whoops. So here's the cello, and here's those harp parts. Very similar, if not the exact same. So that's what's going on there. And yeah, the cello is actually, it's just outlining the chord. So D major 7 is the chord here, and the cello's just like the harp. D, A, C sharp, D, F sharp. Just outlining the chords, and it just gives it this movement, kind of luscious movement. And the bass is doing the same thing as before, just holding out the bass parts. Nothing fancy, but it does the job. Going up from here, let's see what the cello is doing. I think it goes up an octave. Yep, from before. The timing's way off, but I guess we don't know. Generally, our cello's meant to add bass to the melody. And let's see, by bass, I think you're meaning like just like an octave lower, if that's what you mean. They can, yeah. I usually have, so sometimes I'll have my cellos and my basses play the same thing. But in this case, I wanted the cellos to do something different. And I think, to answer your question, they can, but I've noticed at the right time and place, composers like to, do something else with the cellos. Cellos are good for either playing the melody themselves, or you're doubling with the bass, or doing something in between, kind of taking the middle ground. And you'll notice I have like no violas here. I don't know. I guess I just didn't write for violas. Oops. What's up, Kyle? Thanks for popping in. So yeah, going up from here. Did that answer your question, Togap? Let me know. I don't know if that answered it. But I'd be happy to give it another shot. So going up from here, we have some choir. And what choir is this? This is East-West. Soprano. Oh, yeah, what's this called? It's not their newest one. Oh, symphonic choirs. Sustain. Playing what the tape orchestra pads were playing. Just outlining the chords very simply. I'm glad I answered your question, by the way. And it crescendos just a little bit at the end there. And here's what the tape orchestra is playing. I just love this pad. Can't believe it's free. It's so lush. With a ton of tail. We'll get into that. Yeah, it is free. Isn't that crazy? Sounds amazing. Going up from here, just some suspended cymbal. These come from East-West, and I just bounce them into audio tracks just for simplicity's sake when I'm writing. Dude, that's a good idea, Kyle. Perhaps I will. We have some counter melody. Okay, so also what's going on in this section. So this is all stops are pulled out basically, The strings are playing on the high melody, or an octave higher, and now this little counter melody thing is brought back from this little middle section here. Not sure how well it cuts through, though. Oh, and the cellist is doubling the violin part. Again, we heard that in the middle section. Piano doing the same thing. Dulcimer doing the same thing. Everyone else doing the same thing here. So here's what the keys sound like. Sounds like a baby going to sleep. And then, yeah, more timpani rolls and stuff to help with the transitions. A little bit bigger. Celeste. I don't know. Celeste. Celeste. I think that's the one. Celeste. This definitely reminds you of Skyrim music. You listen to falling asleep. Yeah. Good. This is the whole point. Also, here's what's going on in the brass and timpani. Why not? Looks like they're doubling the melody. And these are just solo instruments. So this is French horn solo, key switch. This is from Hollywood Brass. And same with the trumpet from Hollywood Brass. It's going to keep asking me, huh? Do you want to install? Here's the EQ we have for the trumpet and for the French horn. There's that. Yeah, these turned out nicely. I love how these sound. East West Brass has its weaknesses, but I love their legato. And then some ensemble patches join them, it looks like, or another legato solo. Awesome. And finally, the woodwinds. Check out what they're doing in this section. So same thing as before. Looks like the oboe bumps up an octave, and we have flutes joining an octave higher again. So really this is what it's looking like. I think the sound, what it sounds like is we might have 3 octaves going on. And if I could go back in time, I would EQ this. What made that sound? I should close it. I would EQ this alto flute and take out some of this low end, because the French horn is already covering that. But I won't. I'll leave it as it is. I'll turn that off. So yeah, here's that whole section again. Sorry, cellos are super loud for some reason. Again. To answer your questions, Kyle, am I doing a new inspired? I want to, but I have no idea what to do. I'm honestly just like stumped, because I want to, I mean ideas, but there's like all these like things I want it to pass. Like, okay, well, will people buy it? Is it like marketable? And will I enjoy writing it? And do I have the equipment or the technology or whatever to write it? And will it stretch me? Will I grow from it? So I'm kind of picky. But I'm glad this is one of your favorites. You can stream it on Spotify, this very track. Fields of Grain. So I'm going to dive into this next section here. So earlier I talked about this tail, this crazy long reverb. So I have the reverb on the plugin itself for the free pad, the tape orchestra. Here's the very end of this phrase. And listen to it. Listen to the tail, just how long it continues on for. And it's also being sent to a different reverb. So yeah, it's just drenched in reverb. Probably too much reverb, I don't know. But it sounds like Elder Scrolls stuff. So it works. And then yeah, having the brass hold out, go over the bar line, bum, and not stopping on beat 1. Same with the flutes. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. And then back to the textures. since the beginning of the track, pretty much. Mystery ending. And it looks like this piano, it says it's an octave higher, but... Oh, I see. Okay. It kind of isn't. So yeah, this transition here was pretty important. I just wanted to focus on textures again. And when I say textures, I guess I just mean what helps me get there is wind chimes. That's just a big part, I don't know, of just kind of this like lightness. Yeah, you can barely hear those wind chimes. They're really in the background, but they're there with the cymbal and then with the decay of everything else. Just kind of gives it this light feeling. And then with the high pad here. I think this is playing exactly the same thing as the beginning. And I ended it that way so that I could loop it for the purpose of the game audio asset pack. Give it some space, but still be able to loop. So yeah, there's a little breakdown. I think some key elements. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to share. While I was mixing it, I put a limiter on it, and then I had this EQ. I'm not sure where all this sound is coming from, but that's fine. And I just bumped the high ends a little bit because it sounds really kind of muddy. And again, for that same reason, the muddiness, I tried to take away some of that. And then when I was mastering it, quote unquote, I just used a couple simple plugins. Just an Ultra Maximizer from Waves. It's L1 Ultra Maximizer. And then Insight to tell me my LUF meters from Isotope. And that's what I do. That's kind of my mastering process. I just bounce it within the track, and then I have it right here, and then I turn on these plugins and find the right LUF meter, or adjust it until it's the right loudness that I want it. And I usually go between 14 to 12. Fun fact. Yeah, this is Logic Pro toe gap, to answer your question there. So yeah, this was it. There's the breakdown of this track here. I think some key elements for me, like in summary, for those that may be also trying to create this type of music, or they want to learn how to, the first thing to focus on would just be atmosphere and environment. And for me, I created that by putting a lot of things in reverb on a production standpoint, like on a technical standpoint, and on a composition standpoint, keeping things really simple and open, and the movement very slow and simple. We have a tendency as composers, especially when we're new, to just like keep things up, or to keep things like really busy and honestly too busy. What's up, Micah? Good to see you. Hey, Paul. Maybe I'll do a breakdown of another one because now all these people are joining in. What's up, Nick? Anyways, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, some key takeaways were environment, making it sound like it's in an open space compositionally and on a production standpoint. And the way I did that compositionally was just by doing simple chord progressions. And from a production standpoint, by drenching everything in reverb, pretty much, and making it sound like it was far away, as well as keeping some things consistent, like this piano and stuff. So yeah, here. I'm going to put in the chat here. I'll put a little poll. Would you like to see a breakdown of one more track or end the stream here? Okay, I just put a little poll up for y'all. And while you guys are doing the poll, I'm gonna play this track one more time. And at the end of the track, I'll maybe end the poll. I don't know. Alrighty. Looks like the people have spoken. And I will be ending it. No, just joking. Yeah, so I'll do this again. I know just the track to pull up. Also, fun fact, you guys can live stream this if you're so interested. Fields of Grain is what it's called, and it's under my artist name, or live stream it, sorry. You could stream it on any major platform out there. Here, I'm going to open this up off screen, the next track here, so you don't see my secret files. Let's see. I'll open up another favorite of mine from the same album that you can stream if you want. From the same audio asset pack. It's called Kingdoms and Valleys. Let's see. Pulling it up off screen here. Let me just double check this is it. Yep, it is. Wait. No, it's not. It's... Sorry, guys. Not that one. This one. Okay. Northern Village. Close. Sure. Save that. Okay, and yeah, I'll do the exact same thing I did with Fields of Grain. I'll just dive into the technicalities of how I went about the production and the composition of it, of creating this type of music inspired by Elder Scrolls games, specifically Oblivion and Skyrim. Secret files. Yes, that's right. Oops, there we go. Oh yeah, and here's the Sinistrines problem. If you have Sinistrines not 2.0, just know that if you upgrade to 2.0... Oh man, sorry, I'm interrupting myself. Micah, thanks for noticing the Toy Story background. Toy Story toys in the back. I've been waiting for someone to point that out, and it's never happened. So, good on you. I'm collecting them. I just got Woody and Jesse, and... I guess, yeah, just those two recently. And I had Buzz for a little while. Yep, and a banjolele. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so what I was getting at is because I have Sinistrines 2.0, let me just do this. I'm creating a new alternative version of Logic here so that I can keep this one pure and untouched. Okay, yeah, because I upgraded to Sinistrines 2.0, I have to just real quick change the stream patches. It won't take too long. So, hold on just a second here. I just gotta implement. I'm gonna import the 2.0 strings from my Symphony template. In Logic, there's this really cool thing where you can open a Logic project on the side here, and I'm now browsing the files from that other project within this one. It's super nice because I don't have to open it entirely, and I can import certain instruments. So here it is, Sinistrines, and I'm just choosing import the plugins. And I click add. And it's loading them in. It's super, super useful. Yeah, banjolele. It's a ukulele. It's tuned like a ukulele, but it's a banjo. Like, it's built like a banjo. It's so cool. I love it. Highly recommend. Especially for you, Paul, man. You, guitar player, ye. But I love it because I also love like ragtime jazz kind of stuff, or like New Orleans jazz, and sometimes you hear those kind of things in there. Oh, again, no viola in this track. That's kind of funny. 2 tracks in a row here. Just skipped viola. Who needs him? Okay. Again, I wasn't planning on this, doing 2 of them, so thanks for your patience, everybody. As I put this together. No viola. Oh, no. Micah, are you a viola? Are you part of the viola gang? If so, my bad. That's just my bad, man. Okay, what? I just gotta match the EQ. Where was it? Right there. And we're sending to bus 1 and 12. This is what I did before I started the live stream with that other track. You forgive me. Are you a viola? Is that what I said? Okay. And now let me just do a quick key switch here for everyone. All the strings. Do the right mic settings. Blah, blah, blah. Key switch, key switch. Key switch. And then over here. Viola is kind of the awkward middle child of strings. That's well put. I would say then violins are kind of the stuck up, or the goody 2 shoes, the twins, you know, violin 1 and 2. And cello is like the cool friend that's like, they just get it. You know what I mean? To me, at least. And then there's viola. Okay. Few things. Again, this is super annoying. I don't recommend. I mean, I do recommend getting Cinestrines 2.0, but I don't recommend going back to old projects because they don't play quite the same. Okay, let me just hear how this sounds in context. Oh yeah, you gotta open up. Oh man, I got more Cinestrines right here. Heck yes. I love it. Okay, I got this. Here we go. You guys asked for it, so it's your fault. I'm just joking. Ignore this time. See, this is Contact telling me we can't find Cinestrines, the old version. And I got to figure out, there's got to be a way I can access the old ones, but maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so now so this was an ensemble patch, so I just got to go over here. Ensemble. I'll just leave all the mic settings as is for now. And we're on sustain, good. Sometimes I do this as just a little shortcut thing. Appreciate y'all's patience. It'll be worth it. Probably, I don't know. Okay, and then you guys probably loaded up, right? Yep, okay, good. Who are you? Okay, you are east-west, so you won't have a problem. And let's make sure you sound normal functional. All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and play this one from the top. So this one's called Northern Village. And let me add a bookmark for my own sake. A stream marker, because I guess that helps with editing afterwards. Okay, this one's called Northern Village, and I'll do a little production breakdown of it. But first, I'll go ahead and just play it from the top here. Sorry, I'm just readjusting. Okay. Here it is from the top. Did that sound weird for you guys too? That sounded weird for me. Let's do that again. I have to stop it right here. I'm going to play it with the bounced version so you can hear what the strings were supposed to sound like real quick. Sorry for the interruption. Here we go again. Alrighty, let's do a little dive. And yeah, you can see kind of my grief with these strings. Huge difference when you upgrade to 2.0 here of Cinestrines. Hey, what's up, Joe? Thank you. I appreciate the comment on the harp ornamentations. Real quick, before I do a little production dive here, I just got to fix the strings because it will kill me. I'll just do this. Yeah, so to answer your question, Micah, I do use Cinematic Studio Strings, but I only have their solo instruments at the moment. But I do plan to get their string ensemble one because, yeah, I love their stuff. I have their brass and their woodwinds. Yeah, I have everything except for their ensemble patch. And the biggest thing with Cinestrings 2.0 is just the difference between this and the old one when it comes to MIDI data is just the entrances and exits are a little more dramatic. You have to just be more dramatic about them. Whoops, let me just redo this. Okay, cool beans. It looks like this is the same as that one, so I'm just going to copy and paste that. Good to know. So they just had an update. That's really good to know. It's even more incredible. Yeah, I'm stoked. I recently, I think a few weeks ago, got their brass. And for the last game asset thing I was doing like a Star Wars inspired one. And that brass made such a difference. Oh my gosh. I wish I had it from the beginning of that last one. Okay, so little production breakdown. For this track, okay, so for each of my tracks also, I have a temp track. So this gives me, what I mean by temp track stands for temporary in the industry. And it gives me just something very specific to aim towards. So from past to present from Skyrim was my temp track. So I wrote that down. I wrote down what scale, like I listened to the track a bunch, and then I wrote down what scale are they using. Excuse me. Also, whoa, Micah, good to know. They have like discount codes. That's really good to know. I did not know that. I will definitely have to email them. I wish I did that with the brass. You should message me on Discord about that or something so I could remember. I would love to hear more about that. So yeah, scale, I put down, so Dorian and minor. So what I meant by that was, let me pull up a little piano here. So we have a minor scale. You can kind of see my piano playing right here. And I noticed they were going back and forth between that and Dorian, which is where you have, it's a minor scale, but with a major sixth. That's a super brief version. Oh, my camera's off. That doesn't matter. That's a super summarized version of that. So I wrote down the scale. I sometimes write down the form. I didn't with this one. And then I wrote down some ideas like, okay, so for the intro, I'm going to have an interlude maybe. I wrote down a bunch of stuff. Oh no, this was me listening to the temp track, actually. I believe, is that what this was? I wrote down the harmony and just a bunch of stuff because, like I said, I wanted it to be, I had the specific aim and I wanted it to sound like we were in Skyrim, you know? And so I just learned as much as I could about it. Like, oh, okay, so the Celeste and the piano and the harp with light pads in the background, super light. And like, I'm noticing they're doing this kind of harmony. And in this section, this kind of harmony. And like an oboe plays and blah, blah, blah. And so super, super helpful. Highly recommend. Like, it's just, yeah, it was a really cool learning process. It was kind of one of those like lose yourself to find yourself sort of things, you know. Paradoxes, so where you have to like listen just a ton first and then you give it a shot. So yeah, Micah, to your point, yeah, I got this idea from Avery Berman, I think is his name. He did a master class in Video Game Music Alliance, and I saw he did his notes like this in Logic, and I was like, whoa, super, super cool idea. So this track starts off. We have strings here. This is from East West Hollywood Strings. Nothing fancy. And on the instrument track, I have reverb. You know, I usually send reverb. I usually don't put it on the track, but because it's like I said with the last track, you know, a lot of this, what makes this sound like Skyrim-y and Oblivion is that it just sounds like drenched in reverb and like super far away. And so here's what these strings sound like. Super pretty. And then on top of that, I have some pads. So this is from Omnisphere. It's called Prox, Blowing Smoke. And let's hear what it sounds like. Again, just giving it space and ambience. Yeah, Paul, I highly recommend Omnisphere. You should want it. Just, yeah, really nice texture. I don't know if I had to do a lot of editing with this. I sometimes do to get it to sound just right. I'm curious. I totally forgot about all this. I'm curious to hear what Monkey Forest pad sounds like when we get there. I forgot about all that. Looks like I had some ideas here that I muted, so they didn't make the final cut. So that's all that's going on in the beginning there. And then we have a cello. And again, yeah, from Cinematic Studio solo strings. Harmony-wise here, let's just dive into this. So here's what's going on compositionally. I'm going to pull up a little piano here. Okay, so we have... Yeah, this is easier for me. So E minor, A major, that's the Dorian sound. So we're in E minor, but with a major sixth. And then back to E minor, and then a C major. So that's jumping back and forth between this Dorian sound and then just a natural minor sound. A little F sharp to imply we're moving back up. And then just the same chord progression, back to C. And then we do, what happens here? Bum, bum. And then in measure 8, sometimes the score isn't always accurate. So we're going to C again. C major 7. And then an A again. And then a B major. So it's just, yeah. I'm using pretty much the same chords, just like the last song. It's pretty much the same chords, except the second time I repeat it, it changes just a little and I introduce one new chord. And that's the 5 B major, which brings us back to E minor. So yeah, that's that. And then it goes into something else. So yeah, harmonically, this song is a little different. The last one was very, very simple. This one changes a lot more because then it goes into something different here. Let's listen to the next section here. So we have in the woodwinds here, This is Cinematic Studio Woodwinds. And again, this is back, I wasn't EQing my woodwinds back in the day. I was so young. And just like the last song, I have the mic positions within here switched up. It's not the default mic. I took off the close and the overhead mics so that it sounds a little more further back in the room. And we're being sent to some woodwind verb and then a master room verb. Reverb is what I mean by verb. And this is what those look like. Both from East West. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about those. We have alto flute and cor anglaeus. If anyone in the chat could tell me how to pronounce that, I would be indebted to you. Playing in the same register. We have other elements. A little bit of harmony. Just a little bit. Whoa. There's a mistake I didn't catch, I guess. Or I did that on purpose. I don't know. I don't remember. You believe it's cor anglaeus. Welcome back, ToeGap. So we have that, and then we have some French horns. This is East-West again. Just giving us the harmony. Being sent to reverb. And here's the EQ. There's that, and then a little cymbal roll. Let's see what we have in the harp here. Again, with the harp, because I wanted it to sound farther back than it was, I put reverb, so it's being sent to reverb, and I also put reverb on the track itself. There's also a compressor and some EQ going on here. Compressor because the harps in East-West are just so quiet. And yeah, here's East-West. And again, I'm using this, just like the last track, using this plugin because I've heard that that's one of the plugins that may have been used in Oblivion and Skyrim. It was East-West Symphony Orchestra, or Symphonic Orchestra. At least it sounds like it to me. See ya, Paul. Thanks for dropping by, man. And then we have strings. This is one thing I wanted to change in the track. I just felt like the strings came in kind of strong. If I could go back in time. But I'm going to leave it as is because this was my finished version. And I'm doing a root, fifth, and then the third of the chord. So they're just triads. This is my favorite arrangement of strings to play. Just root, fifth, third, spread out like this. Just has such a nice full sound. And so earlier we heard the woodwind harmony stuff coming in. That also happens here in the strings. And then we have, I kind of cheated, more strings. Cheated meaning the arrangement isn't necessarily ideal or playable for a live orchestra, but that's fine because that wasn't the context. One of my favorite like texture-y string libraries here. This is Chamber Waves. Oliver Arnold's Chamber Waves from Spitfire Audio. Chamber Evolutions, I think is what it's called. It's just so good. this patch is called Chamber Waves. Just plays these swells. There's that Dorian sound. So let's hear all that in context here. Awesome. I gotta fix this. Okay. So the next section. Here's just the string section going on. Just like the last song, just right off the bat, we have the cello doing root, fifth, just working their way up. Root, fifth, root, third, fifth. Just outlining the triad. Super simple. And just getting this up to date, I think in Cinestrings 1 I had, just the room mics for the string section, except for the bass. Again, to sound farther away. And, we have choir again, just like in the last track. I love this choir. This is Choir Essentials from Starov sampling or something like that. And then right here, some sopranos from East West join in on the melody. This is Hollywood Choirs. Ooh, we're almost to the fun section here with the Monkey Forest pad. Up in the harp section, this is just doubling exactly, I think, what the piano or what the cello is doing. I got that technique from John Barry. Listen to any John Barry soundtrack that's like big and luscious, like Dances with Wolves or Flying Out of Africa, I think is what it's called, or Somewhere in Time, and he does this thing with the cellos and the harps. It's the same thing. It's like almost like annoying and boring. It's not boring, kind of, but it's almost annoying how he just does literally the same texture every time. But it's just so pretty. So that's kind of where this is coming from. Yep, note for note, pretty much the same thing there. And then we have, percussion stuff, just a little cymbal roll, and then timpani. The cymbal comes from Symphonic Orchestra, East-West, and the timpani, I think, is the same. Nothing special there, nothing crazy, except I boosted the bass and the timpani a little bit. Probably too much. Trombones join in on the fun with the harmony and French horns. There's just that Dorian sound. 1 to major 4. Minor 1 to major 4. Oh, also bassoon is joining in on the fun with the harps and cellos to really give it a lush sound, make it sound nice and full. And we have melody going on, I think. Yep, flute, doubling with the violin. And then oboe joins. Too high. Higher than it can play. Guess I didn't adjust that. And then clarinet joins. So here's the whole thing again, the whole section. And now texture section. This is the next section. Oboe high is often a bit out of tune, out of unison. Oh, that's good to know, Micah. Yeah. I guess you can kind of hear that here. I think I meant to put this down an octave, but I just didn't. So yeah, this next section, super fun. I just wanted to focus on textures. That was my primary goal. Oh, this is also a super Oblivion Skyrim-y thing. I hear this everywhere. Just this specific, I swear, it's the same sample, this same patch. It's this 26-inch Zildjian roll from Symphonic Orchestra, East-West, just doing this, just making noise. I hear that in so many Elder Scrolls games, and then like another cymbal here finishing the job. But I just added that because, yeah, you know, tip of the hat to that sound. Just noise. It helps make it sound like it's a, you know, it's in this space again. It's in this environment. And yeah, these strains aren't supposed to sound the way they're sounding. That's fine though. So again, just like the last song, wind chimes help us with the transition, with texture-y transitions, with sparkles. So we have that going on, and I wrote that in my notes here. It was like sparkly, just like light, like texture change. Yeah, sparkles. Just really, really light sound. I'm going to actually start with this whole middle section, all the keys and stuff going on here. So that's not being used. Let's see, we have these guys right here. So let's dive into this. So we have that Omnisphere patch. I just bounced it in place because when I have MIDI that's holding a really long note, in Logic you have to go all the way back to where it starts in order to hear it continually, and that's really annoying when I'm editing and I still want to hear it. So I just, long story short, did that for my own sake so that it'll always be playing. And it looks like it's supporting the harmony changes a little bit by playing an octave, or a fifth, and then a major sixth above. Such a nice sound. So we have that. The same patch, the same free library, or free sound from Spitfire, Tape Orchestra. Sounds amazing. Same as the other track. So yeah, just to support and blend with this one. We have Ambient Space Piano. This is from Omnisphere. Oh, I think I was coloring my Omnisphere tracks blue. That's fun. Ah, yeah. I've heard something like this, I think, in that reference track. Something very similar to this. And I thought that was a nice blend with this Celeste. So I copied and pasted it up there. And now, finally, Monkey Forest Pad. Let's check this out. I think this is from, yeah, Balinese Gamelan 1.5. This just had, textures. I have some volume automation going on. And you can hear it kind of going. There's a little bit of tremolo in there. It's really, really quiet. With that, I also have Noir Piano. I love this plugin. Noir Felt is what it's called. And I have a compressor on it and choral synth. So I'm just holding chords, and it's doing all those effects for me with the Particles engine. It's just so nice. For textures, for just layers. So here's what that sounds like with the Monkey Forest Pad. And then all of it together, all of this section here, with the Celeste. All right, and then the harp takes the melody here. Oh, and piano. Where's this piano from? This piano, oh, this is another Spitfire one. This one was like $30. It was really cheap. Originals felt piano. So I have that layered, and it's being sent to reverb. That's layered with this harp. The exact same regions. Oh yeah, and then like the other song, just little accents or little cherry on top moments here. With the Glock there. Bum, bum. Just the little details, you know? Oh yeah, and then we have, to support the pad-like stuff, some strings. Just like in the beginning. Actually, I think it's the exact same, if not very similar, as the beginning that we heard. So here's that up until then, all together. Yeah, it is very magical. Thank you, Togap. Magical is a good word for it. So the second half of this section, all that goes on, we just have a lower harp doing the little triad movement. And to support that, this pad, I think it's this pad, goes a little bit lower. Yeah, to really support that harp there. And then we have the strings going lower as well. There's the 5 chord. So I think it's, yeah, we're using the same chord progression as the beginning there, pretty sure. And then some more of the chamber waves with the bass. Yeah, just a nice swell there. Yeah, and that's that track in a nutshell. Let me know if you have any questions. But I'm going to go ahead and play this. I'll answer any questions if there are any at the end. Oh, but here's my quick summary of approaching this track. My big takeaways were listening, and like studying almost the sound you want, and like being as specific as possible. And yeah, breaking down what scale is this song using that I want to emulate and want to sound like, and what's the harmony, what are the chord changes. And I learned the biggest ones for me for this song was just minor 1, major 4. That was it. That was the big one. And then I added some just other transitional chords. And yeah, what were the sounds? Again, when listening to another track, what's the orchestration like? What's the instrumentation? What are the texture changes, and all that stuff. That was like a huge takeaway for me for this one, as well as that was pretty much it actually. Listening was the big one, and just taking time to find the right sounds and kind of making it your own thing. Like I think I kind of did that. I felt like I was really tapping in and having fun with it at this section with the noir piano effects and the monkey forest pad and all that stuff. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, we can learn a ton by emulating the great composers. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'll answer those before I end it here. But here is the full track one more time. And again, I'm just going to play it from this one, because it's the OG. And enjoy. Alrighty. Thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun. Yeah, that's all I had planned for today. Maybe I'll do this again in the future. I had a lot of fun doing this. And yeah, feel free to ask me any questions you may have about this process. And have a great day. Hopefully I don't cut myself off while I'm in mid-sentence. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you later.